187 at 5810 Murata Avenue. Homicide wants you over there. The coroner thinks the broad was whacked using the Army morphine. Don't say anything, Roy. Just get over there.
Got a bump at the swipe of me. Put him down.
Second floor, apartment 6, in the back. Thanks.
6.
Bukowski, you made homicide.
That I did. Good to see you, Phelps.
You two want a hug? Or can we get on with this?
Relax, Rusty.
26 years old, fashion model. Found in the tub by the cleaning lady, Mrs. Reynoldson. She called it in.
We heard Carruthers thinks...
Carruthers likes to make work for people. Overdose of sleeping pills. Falls asleep in the tub. Rest in peace. Case closed.
Here, here. Mal is 100% that it's murder.
Do you mind if I take a look around?
Sure. Go right ahead.
Все мои напарники предыдущие.
Val, we've had a look around. Rusty thinks it's a waste of time. What's your theory?
Come on, Mal. Tell us why we were dragged down here.
If the victim was alive when she entered the tub, water would have entered her lungs. The water is violently churned in the windpipe as she drowns. The result is that a lot of foam is generated. This foam is found at the mouth and nostrils in almost all cases of real drowning. Notice anything about our Vic?
May I took a look?
Be my guest. Take a closer look at her head and neck.
Is it her in these photos? It's something else.
Yes.
Her neck is bruised pretty badly.
Pretty girl like that? Maybe she was having trouble with some boys, huh? Maybe she got her heart broken. Couldn't take it anymore.
Bruising on the forearms, and these look like bite marks.
Very good.
I don't know.
Зомби.
Really, she always had so much fire. So much blood. I'm sorry. I'm not being very clear.
There. It's okay.
Very unusual ring.
I could be wrong, but it looks like a black sapphire. The eyes are a classic sign of morphine, and the bruises tell their own story. I think one man held her down and another held her arm and injected her. They put her in the bath to try to cover it as a drowning.
And spread a trail of barbiturates.
Take a look around outside on your way out and see if you can find the syrettes. It would make my theory.
And morphine would have been very quick, and there wouldn't have been much of a struggle.
Okay, so find two guys who recently bought syrettes and weren't junkies, and you might be onto something.
This is all top end of town stuff. Gives us somewhere to look. Modeling assignment. It's a place to start. Beautiful girl. Clothes certainly aren't from the Sears catalog. Quality English smoking jacket. I don't know anyone under 45 who would wear one. Looks like barbiturates. barbiturates. What else is rattling around in this thing? I'm Detective Phelps. I'm here to try and help Julia. Do you mind answering some questions?
Virginia Reynoldson, I'm just so shocked. I feel like there's something I should be doing, someone I should call.
We can make those calls, ma'am. Who needs to be notified?
That's just it. I don't know. Miss Julie doesn't have any family in town. Someone has to set her affairs in order. Mr. Henderson, maybe? Who else is there? I don't know.
If you give the details to the other detectives, ma'am, they can try and get in contact. Was Miss Randall depressed about something? Upset?
No more than normal.
Would she have killed herself for a man?
Miss Julie would never have killed herself. She was a very determined young lady. One of those people who shake the tree for all it's worth.
Did Miss Randall have many friends visit?
I'm not sure. I only come around twice a week.
Вот сейчас, блин, вот сейчас точно сомнений.
Men friends, Mrs. Reynoldson. Spill it.
I will not spread gossip about Miss Julia. She was very nice to me.
I don't care if she was the Virgin Mary sister. Who was she humping? You changed the sheets.
You're disgusting. If you're going to take that tone, I won't answer any more questions.
С ноги залетаем.
What was it like working for Miss Randall?
Perfectly fine, officer.
Ну давай днёрку. Ладно.
Do you do the housekeeping on a regular basis?
Twice a week since Miss Julie moved here from New York.
I know you're trying to protect Julia, Mrs. Reynoldson, but it won't help us solve the case. Julia can't be hurt anymore.
Смотрел это. А.
We should speak to her doctor. Prescribing both drugs would make her life a roller coaster.
The bathroom.
Stefan, Rusty, we'll take a look around outside and then follow up these leads. Can you get some guys to run down the jacket?
Знал бы сразу, я бы так делал. А не 300 лет ехал бы, да. Точку А до точки Б. К концу игры узнал, получается.
Well, hello. What can I help you with today?
LAPD, ma'am.
I hope I haven't done anything wrong.
No, ma'am. We're making some inquiries about Julia Randall. Does she work here?
No, I had to let her go. Is she in some sort of trouble?
She was found dead this morning. How long had Julia worked as a model?
Well, she worked in New York before coming here. She was a very beautiful girl.
Допустим.
Could you tell us why you let Miss Randall go?
Husbands sometimes come in here with their wives. When Julia Randall modeled, the husbands were often more interested in her than they were their wives' dresses. The wives weren't happy, and neither was I.
Did she have any close friends here?
Actually, yes. Heather Swanson.
Один из одного. Yeah!
I'd like that very much. Please don't inform her about Miss Randall's death.
Very well, officer.
Heather?
These gentlemen are from the LAPD.
I'm Detective Phelps. This is Detective Earl. I understand that you worked with Julia Randall, Miss Swanson?
Yes. Julia helped me get my job here. She's not in any kind of trouble, is she?
She's a hellraiser, isn't she? Lives a fast life.
Oh, no. Maybe Mrs. Stanley would call her that, but I wouldn't. She's full of life, a wonderful company.
That's a lovely engagement ring.
Do you like it? Henry gave it to
I'm
me.
very interested in engagement rings. Do you mind if I take a closer look? That's some pearl, Miss Swanson. Would have cost Henry a fortune. He must really love you. How did you meet Julia?
I was introduced through my fiancé, Henry Arnett.
Henry is your beau. Tell us about it.
Yes, he is. Henry has a fashion business. He and Julia have been friends for years.
Are Miss Randall and Mr. Henderson engaged?
Who's he?
She was wearing a sapphire engagement ring. Someone must have given it to her.
She never mentioned a man named Henderson to me.
That's all for now, Miss Swanson. Could you ask your fiancé to visit Hollywood Police Station? It would be very helpful to our inquiry.
Now, wait a moment. I don't think I'll pass on that message until you tell me why you're asking all these questions.
Julia Randall was found dead this morning.
What? Oh, no. Oh, I can't believe it. She was so full of life.
I should be able to work half days.
Yes, sir, your name?
LAPD. We'd like to see Dr. Stoneman.
Dr. Stoneman is with a patient. Would you like to wait?
No, we wouldn't. Tell him we want to see him now.
There's no need to be rude.
Save it, sister.
Dr. Stoneman, I have some gentlemen from the LAPD here to see you.
Send them in, please. I'll see this patient again after they've left.
Your investigation is much more important than my sciatica. I'm just in pain here. Leave me alone.
Что там говоришь?
If you will excuse me, I have patients to attend to.
Not everything here is going to be relevant.
Dr. Stoneman, we are investigating the death of one of your patients, Julia Randall.
I'm very sorry to hear that.
Do you mind if we ask you some questions about Ms. Randall?
Not if it doesn't compromise doctor-patient privilege, Detective.
How well did you know Miss Randall?
Barely at all. She'd only been a patient 6 months or so.
Интуицию я бы оставил пока.
She was disturbed, though.
Well, not in the conventional sense. She had trouble sleeping.
You wrote Julia Randall a prescription for Benzedrine. How can you account for that?
Miss Randall was in the fashion business. She wanted to control her weight.
Benzedrine is addictive, as I'm sure you know, Doctor.
As I warned her, but she was determined. She said she needed it to control her appetite.
Sounds like you knew her pretty well.
I knew the line of work she was involved in.
That'll be all for now, Dr. Stoneman. We'll be in touch. Not much help. Probably nothing.
Probably nothing.
That's the guy from the papers. Solved that big case.
Cole, Roy, I have some information for you.
You're the only person enjoying this, Mal. Get on with it.
The bruising confirms 2 sets of hands, so we have 2 killers. Death was caused by heart failure due to an overdose of morphine.
Have you dragged us down here to gloat? We already heard your theory.
We agree that she was murdered.
Yes, of course.
I have something else to show you.
All right, Mal, what gives?
The dead guy's name is Jimmy LeBlanc, career burglar. He came in this morning. Someone stove his head in with a lump of 2x4.
So what? Good riddance.
I found 2 syrettes in his jacket pocket.
Wow.
Hang on a minute, Roy. We're listening now.
No sign of morphine use and no metabolized morphine in his blood. Scratch marks on his face.
Which could be from getting his head remodeled.
Time of death, Mal.
Maybe an hour or 2 after the Randall girl.
So you're saying Laughing Boy here could be one of our killers? That's a hell of a long shot.
Thanks, Mal. We'll check it out.
I found something else.
Shit.
Sorry, I don't play.
I don't know if it's significant. His wallet was empty. The only other things he was carrying were the harmonica and the morphine. Carruthers. Yeah, he's here. I'll send him over. They have a guy called Henry Arnett in interview 2 for you next door. Let me know how you get on.
Sure, Mal. And thanks for the lead.
Sure, Mal. Thanks for the lead.
I didn't want to arrest the kid.
Mr. Arnett,
So I gave him a
I'm
death
Detective Phelps. This is
Yeah.
Detective Earl. Thanks for coming in.
Call me Henry. It's the least I could do. Terrible news about Julia.
How well did you know Julia Randall?
Vaguely. I'm in the clothing business, and Julia occasionally modeled for me.
You can't expect me to turn a blind eye, can you? No, sorry. Did you know Mr. Mikowski?
Ну, адекватный вроде. С виду. Так, а чё у меня? Кольцо с черным сапфиром. Да, подозреваем. Машинская.
Isn't there anything else you can do?
And you were close? We were friends.
Нет.
I'm no hood. I'm a king. Is that a crime?
Miss Randall's landlady said she was seeing an older man.
Could have been. I wasn't privy to all the details of Julia's private life.
You know anything about this mess? Negative. You see my mother? What the hell is the LAPD up to these days?
Ну, заебись, ребят.
How long is this gonna take?
Ну, все вычеркнуто, значит не ложь? Или вычеркнуто потому что что? Я неправильно ответил первый раз? Двойка, допустим.
Spill it, Henry. You know nothing about a man named Henderson?
Yes, you're right. Henderson, yeah. Very distinguished.
How about a first name, wise guy? An address, maybe?
I'm sorry, I don't. I think he lives somewhere out of town. Somewhere back east.
А, да? Неправильно.
Ever heard of a
Окей.
Jimmy Bob? No. Should I have? Is he an entertainer or something?
You need me to sign some papers or something? I ain't talking to you. Hey, do you fellas need me to stick around much longer? That's right. Is anybody making coffee soon? No entiendo. You see that new title?
I think you're lying. I think Randall was a high-priced hooker, and this Henderson character didn't want it to come out that he had been seeing her. I think he had LeBlanc and an accomplice bump her off. I think you know who Henderson is, and you're trying to conceal his identity.
I think you've been out in the sun too long without your hat. Prove that I know who Henderson is.
Is this a picture of your car?
Два подозреваемых.
Can I post this bag? That's sure.
Убийство.
Do I need to fill this out? You getting trouble with something? Or can I go back to sleep?
I came down here to talk to you, to do the right thing, to try and help catch Julia's killers. And all I get is abuse. I'm not a criminal detective.
Heather told us that you were in fashion.
That's right.
I don't care. I don't go in for letting gangsters off scot-free.
Is the captain in?
You're some kind of traveling salesman?
Once I got out of the Corps, I used my...
You were in the Marines?
Sure. I'm proud of it. The Fighting Sixth.
You were in the 6th Marines?
Yes. I was a captain.
Which company?
Various companies. We had a lot of casualties.
Which engagements?
Okinawa. A couple of other places.
That will be all for now, Henry. You've been very helpful.
That son of a bitch was never in the Marines. Why'd you let him off the hook?
Because we're giving him a couple of minutes before we start tailing him. Arnett is an amateur. We need to find out who killed the girl. Can you pass this on to Bukowski? Have him check the place out and go through his records.
Sure, I'll pass it on.
Can you also have R&I run the records on a Jimmy LeBlanc and find out who was his last arresting officer? Have them get in touch via KGPL when they have some information.
He's in that car at the lights.
He needs money and fast. Get in there and find out what he pawned. I'll stick with him, see how he intends to spend the money. Move in. Can't risk losing the trail.
Hoof it, Phelps. I'll bring the car around when I'm done here.
Я за стеной стою, браза. What the fuck?
That's right, Mexico City. One-way ticket, please. Burglaries. Next available seat.
That would be 1 day from now. Is that okay?
It's going to have to be.
LAPD, the man who just came in here, he bought a ticket?
Yes, sir. To Mexico City, tomorrow night.
If you hear from him again, don't mention this conversation.
What have you got?
He bought a ticket for Mexico City tomorrow night.
That's good, but this is better.
Oh my God, it's Fabergé.
Should have seen the look on the pawnbroker's face when I told him to hand it over. The guy who owned the joint thought it was worth at least 10 large for a cigarette case. Arnett only got 600 clams.
Come on, let's give him a hand. Right behind you, Wallace. Detective Phelps.
Wallace, go left. I'm going right after this little prick in the alley.
Что-то я не быстрее полицейского бегу.
Goddamn cover!
Bye, bitch.
Thanks. Outstanding warrant, armed robbery. Knocked over a drugstore back there, and it looks like he brought his whole posse with him. Bad luck for them.
They're all yours now. We need some information.
Ever heard of a burglar goes by the name of Jimmy LeBlanc?
Sure. I nabbed Jimmy on a burglary beef a couple of years back. They cut through a music shop and into a jewelry store. He got 4 years. I miss his partner, though.
His partner?
Big guy. I had him cornered, and he picked up this huge display case and threw it out a plate glass window. Then he vaulted out of there like something out of Barnum and Bailey.
Got away.
I would have had him, except for LeBlanc yelling, "Run for it, Willie!"
And you think he was an acrobat of some sort?
More like a strongman, a wrestler, or a boxer, that kind of thing.
Thanks. You've been a big help.
You haven't done too badly yourself.
We caught up with Mal. He's given us the dope on LeBlanc.
He worked burglaries with a big guy. Goes by the name of Willie. He might be our killer. Can you work boxing gyms, the Y, promoters, that kind of stuff?
Since when have you started giving orders, Phelps? And where's the burglary angle? There was no sign of a...
That's where Arnett comes in. Next stop, we speak to Lacey about a list of recent burglaries.
Guy's a bum. His office is a front, and he's behind on the rent and his phone bill.
And he's skipping town tomorrow.
Let's get him in and beat it out of him.
Do you want to bring in the killer, Rusty?
You could be too smart for your own good, Phelps. We've been talking about that, haven't we, Roy? Stefan?
Finbar?
Sir, I need the contraband list. Items stolen over the last year.
Hang on, I'll dig out a copy for you. Here you go.
Thanks.
Is the cigarette case on there?
Yeah, I'm thinking of moving up.
Seems Julia wasn't the first bored society girl to hide her bennies in that pillbox.
Does this mean I lose my life?
90%.
Nice house.
Меня вообще уволить должны были, честно говоря. Но
LAPD, ma'am. Is Mrs. Eavestrom in?
в этой игре проиграть нельзя, наверное. Ну, можно, конечно.
I am Mrs. Eastrom. How may I help you?
We appear to have recovered some stolen goods that belong to you, ma'am.
Yes, of course. That terrible burglary. Would you like something to drink?
No, thank you, ma'am. We have some questions, if you don't mind.
Why would I mind, young man, if you are returning 43 pieces of my property?
Okay, before we get down to that, I'll have a scotch. Thanks, straight up.
Maria, can you get the detective a drink, please?
Can you describe to us what was stolen?
It would be easier to describe what wasn't stolen, Detective. A priceless tiara that has been in the family for 50 years. A Fabergé cigarette case that was worth $25,000.
Так, что у меня есть?
Why are you lying about the value of your jewelry, Mrs. Eavestrom?
Who do you think you are? Making heinous accusations in my own home.
Список краденого, давай.
Young man, you are being quite diabolically rude. If that's all, I would like you out of this house.
What can you tell us about the burglary?
That terrible night, at least a year ago. But let's not go into that. Let's talk about what you've recovered.
Were you in the house when the burglary took place?
Good heavens, no. I was at a social function held by a Dr. Harold Stoneman and his lovely wife. I returned home and all of my things were missing.
That's about it for now, Mrs. Eavestrom. The department will get in touch and let you know how you can recover your valuables.
You have only mentioned a few of the items that have been stolen, Detective. What else has been recovered?
You see, Phelps? That's why you get the drinks in early.
Hello, Mother. Hello,
Мазер.
detectives. What is going on?
We'd like to ask exactly the same question.
You have met my daughter?
This morning at work. Oh, mother and father divorced. I took my father's name.
The detectives recovered some of the things that were stolen, darling.
Well, what did you find?
A sapphire ring on the corpse of Julia Randall.
What are you talking about?
Your engagement ring, Miss Swanson. Would you be surprised to know that it was part of the proceeds of a burglary?
That's an outrageous allegation.
Yes, it is. I suggest we go straight to Henry Arnett's place and sort this mess out.
Блин.
American Century Broadcasting.
I don't need this. Come on, sister. Let's find out who your fiancé really is.
LAPD detectives. We're here to speak to Henry Arnett.
Oh, Mr. Arnett? Apartment 30. You can take the lift.
Thank you.
Well, isn't this just nice and awkward?
Stop! LAPD!
Don't kill him, Cole. This guy's our case.
Go on, put your hands in the air.
Put your hands in it.
Give it up, LAPD!
О нет, только не доска. Фак. Доска — это мое слабое место. Ну почему он все время углы не проверяет? Он задолбал.
Looks like he got
Ой,
you
блин.
good, Phelps.
Yeah, he really packs a wallop. How did I get back here?
Under your own steam, miraculously. You came in through the window, said hello, and then keeled over.
How was Arnett?
He's coming round, too. He's all hopped up. Good time to get some answers.
You missing something, Henry? Vacheron Constantine. That's an extremely expensive watch, Henry.
A graduation present from my parents.
You told Heather you're honeymooning without her? We know all about the jewelry ring. You and Randall and LeBlanc and Willie doing the legwork.
I'm in the fashion business.
Ну у него нормальное лицо, блядь, гроза.
Your office is empty and you're behind on the rent.
Times are tough.
Короче, я его давлю. Я давлю его, мне похуй вообще.
I wanted to stop, to get out of that life. I was going to marry Heather if she'd have me. Julia told the others that they were out. That she was going to create a new gang.
You wanted Julia Randall out of your life.
Why would he want that? Julia was our friend.
Julia was his hump, sweetheart. They were the Bonnie and Clyde of society burglars. He met you and realized he didn't have to steal anymore. He could just mooch from you. He needed Julia out of the way.
Julia was insatiable. She didn't care about anyone, not the least me. She was never going to go back to the poverty she came from. I wanted it to stop.
Who is Henderson and what is his involvement?
Tell them what you know, Henry. I'll stand by you if you'll only tell the truth.
There is no Henderson.
Tell me about your first burglary, and don't lie.
I can't remember. I don't keep a list of these things.
Портсигар. Вот чё, вот тут предметов дохуя, блядь. И чё?
No such person. I'm sorry to disappoint you.
Henry Arnett, you are under arrest for burglary and for the murder of Julia Randall.
Henderson is Stoneman, all right? I'm not the guy you want. Go talk to the good doctor.
Oh, we will, knucklehead. Meanwhile, we're fitting you for convict stripes. Time for the doctor to give us something to make this all better. Hang on a moment, sister. Tell him it's Henry Arnett. And tell him it's urgent.
I can't do that.
Tell him, or I'll charge you with obstruction of justice.
Doctor, I'm afraid Mr. Arnett is here to see you, and he says it's urgent.
Send him in.
I told you never to come.
Tell us the truth, Doctor.
I'm so glad you came. Prison will be better than insanity, and I'm already half insane with grief. Do you know that I loved her? I ruined my life for her, and yet I still love her.
Will you testify in court that Arnett and Randall did these robberies?
They organized the robberies. Julie would get the names of the guests attending my wife's parties. Didn't matter how much money I showered upon her, it was never enough. She never really cared for me.
Doctor, I'm afraid you're under arrest.
The practice. You'll call Dr. Gerard. No. Please don't cry. I want to see no one. Not my wife or my children, nor my friends. And I don't want a lawyer. Just lock me up and throw away the key. What have I done?
Didn't see that coming.
Shit. It's gonna crazy, dog. Телефон здесь, не?
That old boy really fell for that broad.
She was incredibly beautiful, Roy.
Would you throw it all away for a woman?
Life has a way of making you pay for your pride.
You're quite the romantic, Phelps. Stick with the percentages. Broken hearts are for chumps.
You're talking from experience.
I certainly am.
Да дай мне позвонить,
Oh, I like
запарил.
women as much as the next guy.
Запарил
As long as they're in their
говорить.
place and doing what they're told.
Дай позвонить.
Operator, give me dispatch.
Putting you through now.
I need an ambulance and the coroner immediately to the offices of Dr. Harold Stoneman, 1646 Ivor Street, Hollywood.
En route, Detective. You have a message. Detective Bukowski says the suspect is named Wilson Willie the Wolf Reed, former wrestler. Last known address is an apartment building at the corner of Hollywood and Vine. Detective Bukowski says to meet them there.
On our way.
He's around here somewhere. A big guy. Neighbors say he always wears basketball shoes and a cream jacket. And get this, the kids around here say he plays the harmonica.
Find a game well and have the commander set up a dragnet. We want the area closed off. We'll take this out of the street.
A harmonica playing wrestler. That's a weird one. Think he knits as well?
Just keep your eyes open and your mouth shut. We don't want him to bolt on us.
Wilson Reed, LAPD, give yourself up.
А. Наверх, оказывается.
Hold it. He's got to be around here somewhere. No place to go unless he grew wings. There he is. Where's the son of a bitch?
Ты, блядь, терминатор или чё?
Son of a bitch really picked a spot for it up here, didn't he? Julia Randall's folks are flying in from New York tomorrow to claim the body. I saw her on the slab. So perfect. Looked like she was made of porcelain. She really made an impression on me.
Julia had that impact on a lot of men.
Christ, it's cold. You guys did good work here today. Roy, I think you should buy your brother officers a drink. Do you now? That's very generous of you, Lieutenant.
Заурядно. А, то есть 2 звезды.